Welcome to my Data 625 Unit 4 presentation. This exploratory analysis focuses on 5 unique United States population trends, with the aim to better understand the impending rise and fall of different aspects of our population. My first figure, a line graph, investigates the steady growth of the United States population across the last 20 years. I used the forecasting and linear trendline predictions to estimate total population for the next 3 years. Predictions suggest that growth will continue at a similar rate through the year 2027. The United States Census Bureau provides up-to-the-minute information about this metric. Please click on the bottom right image for access to this information. Note that the linear trend line more closely predicts the current 2025 population compared to the forecast, which, disregarding the confidence interval, estimated about 1 million individuals less than what the Census Bureau reports. I suspect, due to decreasing birth rates, the United States will experience a decline in population in my lifetime. Figure 2 uses line graphs to evidence the relationship between health expenditure and population growth. For over 30 years, America has tended to spend increased amounts on healthcare, despite slowing population growth rates. Note that population growth and total population are different metrics and can be contraindicated. The U.S. population is continuing to increase, just at a slower and slower rate every year. Why then do we continue to spend more money on healthcare? We can infer that as our elderly live longer and longer, they require more healthcare services. Also, note the potential outliers present in the year 2020, when COVID-19 swept through the country. This point in time lends another clue towards higher health spending, specifically the presence of more sickly individuals who also require increased services. Unfortunately, we can also infer from the dip in population growth after the pandemic that many American citizens died because of COVID-19. Figure 3 is a stacked bar chart representing the proportion of American citizens by gender. In the last decade, males have made up a slight majority of the population. For example, in 2024, America had 1,005 males for every 1,000 of its females. Females haven't had a population majority like that since 2005. Male population majority peaked in 2020 and has since been on the decline. It is hard to infer what specific variables are associated with this balance in the United States. However, higher male population proportions in other areas of the world have been the result of preference towards birthing male babies. It is not likely this is the case here. Figure 4 is another line graph displaying birth and death rates across time. Birth and death rates have changed drastically over the last 3 decades, with birth rates falling steadily. I use the forecast function to predict both rates until 2027. Interestingly, it is estimated for that the first time, death rates will surpass birth rates this year and into 2027. Note the spike in deaths potentially associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. I suspect that the continuous, unusually high rate of deaths in 2020 and the years following it are influencing this forecast. However, I do believe that birth and death rates will equalize in my lifetime. An increase in population, a decrease in growth rate, too much healthcare spending, or maybe not enough, an imbalance in genders, plummeting birth rates. Let's look at some good news. Figure spot 5, displays the declining number of newborn, infant, and young children deaths across the last 20 years, potentially because of increased access to prenatal healthcare services and falling birth rates. I use linear trend lines to predict this continued decline. Note that deaths among young children are dropping at the fastest rate. Young Americans will continue to experience safer and safer prenatal, birthing, and postnatal conditions. This exploratory analysis is focused on the rise and fall of 5 unique population trends. Over the last several decades, the United States has seen an increase in population, specifically male individuals currently, and an increase in healthcare spending. However, America is growing at slower and slower rates every year. As birth rates fall and death rates seem to rise, there may be a time in my life where these trends switch. COVID-19 may have impacted the trajectory of all of these metrics. Despite the wariness of this presentation, deaths affecting newborns, infants, and young children are at an all-time low, with conditions constantly improving for our youngest Americans. Thank you for attending this presentation. Please see the next page for access to my references.